Okay, so there's this mare. Okay, so there's this pony, right? And she's a mare. She, her pronouns and all that. So she walks into this bar. No, it wasn't a physical bar. Well, it was an actual bar, but in the sense of a place where they serve drinks and stuff and ponies hang out, and not the structural kind. Or the law exam. I do admit the law exam would be pretty funny, but that's not the point here. So she walks into this bar and sits on a stool and sighs deeply. She looks troubled. The bartender asks her, "What the long face?" Get it? 'Cause she's a pony? Hey, come on, it was funny, a classic. Hey, don't stop listening. See, okay, I can do better, trust me. So, the mare sighs again and looks up at the bartender. He's polishing a glass with a cloth and his wings. He's a Pegasus, so the mare looks up at the bartender, right? She says to him,
My work saddled me with too much responsibility.
So the bartender, he says, "Why the big pause?" And the mare cocks her head at him and looks at him funny, and replies,
I don't have paws, I have hooves.
"Oh, come on, the puns aren't doing it for you." Okay, alright, I'll try something different, trust me, you'll love it. Alright, so the bartender, he thinks she's messing with him and starts laughing, and takes him a few seconds to realize that she was serious. So he stops laughing because he thought she would find it rude, and he just wants to be nice. So he tries to explain it to her. I meant pause, as in you, didn't say anything for a few seconds. I thought you were making a joke. This mare, she's the understanding sort, so she raises an eyebrow and she says,
Oh, it's no big deal. I'm just kind of out of it right now.
And then she rests her chin on the bar top and closes her eyes. So the bartender, the glass that he had been polishing was clean and polished, so he turned around to swap it with an unpolished glass. And then he turns back to this mare and says, "Well, are you sure now's the best time to have a drink?" So the mare opens one eye to look at him, and she says,
Yeah, I just want to not think about it, and I think a drink would help. I appreciate the concern, though.
So the bartender, he gets her a drink, some hard cider, and she picks it up with her hoof and drinks some of it. Yeah, she's an earth pony. So the bartender, 'cause he wants to be nice, says to her, "I might have something to take your mind off of things. I have this friend who's currently in the bathroom. He's a changeling, one of the reformed ones, right? And he has this special talent where he can turn into objects. He also has a pet bird named Tonight that may or may not be possessed by the ghost of an old vocalist. So how about that?" The mare takes another swig of her cider before she replies,
Sounds interesting, I guess. Say, do you have any special drinks?
and then she finishes off her cider. The bartender takes a moment to think, and then he says to her, "Well, I have this drink I call Melody because it feels like one in your mouth. And after two, some creature starts singing. It also happens to be my friend's favorite drink. I don't think I mentioned it, but his name's Dan." The mare also thinks for a moment, more for show, cause honestly that melody sounded pretty good to her. She says,
Well, I'll try a melody then.
and so the bartender makes her one, and she tries it and he watches her try it with pride, cause he's pretty darn proud of that cocktail concoction. So the mare goes all, and
Wow, this is good.
and stuff like that cause it was pretty good. So Dan comes out of the bathroom with a bird on his head. I told you already, but Dan's a changeling and the bird's name is Tonight. I don't know what he was doing in the bathroom with a bird, but it's not important. So Dan goes to the bar and sits next to the mare. Her name is Sandy Dunes and sees that she's drinking a melody, so he says to her,
Oh, hey, what do you think of the melody? It's my favorite drink from Old Whiskey here.
and yeah, Whiskey's the bartender's name. Should have mentioned that earlier, I guess. So Sandy finishes off her melody and says to Dan,
Oh, you must be Dan. I thought the melody tasted pretty good, I guess.
She then asks Whiskey for another, and so Dan pipes up and says,
I'll take one too.
Whiskey's the clever sort, so he opens up a proposition to Dan. "So, let's say I give it to you for free, but you gotta help me cheer up this mare." Dan loves his melodies, so he heartily agrees and then asks Sandy,
Say, what can I do to cheer you up?
and she thinks for a moment and asks,
You can turn into objects, right?
and Dan says,
Sure can.
so Sandy thinks for another moment and then says,
Could you turn into a piano?
and Dan chuckles at that because it's kind of silly, but he still says,
I can do that, sure. Might need a melody first, though.
So Whiskey makes 3 melodies, one for Sandy, one for Dan, and one for himself for the fun of it. And they all drink up. So Dan gets away from the bar because pianos are kinda large, you know, and he focuses for a moment and then bam, he's a piano. So Sandy claps her hooves and asks,
Can you play yourself?
and Dan says,
Sure can.
and plays a little tune. So Dan's bird, tonight, hears the tune and sings along a little, and it's amazing. Sandy loves it, and Whiskey loves it, and Dan loves it, and tonight's a bird, and no pony knows what's going on in a bird's brain, or, well, maybe Fluttershy, but still. So Sandy claps her hooves again, and then she says,
Maybe you could sing along with your bird?
and Dan starts hemming and hawing, and he says,
I don't know.
So Sandy gets off of her stool, and she's a little woozy, but she's feeling better. So she says,
Sing us a song, you're a piano Dan. Sing us a song tonight. But we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling alright.
Jesus, that singing was very rough. But a little fun note is that the author put in so 34 times, and then and 65 times. Overall, though, this whole thing is freaking priceless. Anyways, let's get on to our melodies of donators. Top donators are 630, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, Only One Thing, and Dash of Evergreen. Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel Skies, Austin Rollins, Crazy Color 557, Stu Hex, Swordbrother and Mordred, Omicron Lyrae, Will, Chris Twinkie, Hadzaza, Riot Soul, Maverick, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.